Capalmo welcomes you! 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 Palma welcomes you! Palma welcomes you!
Good evening and welcome back everybody to our live coverage of the Safari Guide of the Year 2023 competition, where our 5 finalists are trying to dream it, guide it and win it. It's been a fairly relaxed day for us here today. Well, for most of us at least. Certainly not for Pioneer, who was up on the game drive event this morning. And Pioneer did one of the most important things first up, which was to check what his guests' special interests were. And his guests really wanted to go and see the lion kill that had been found on the reserve the day before. Strangely, we had 2 giraffe carcasses that seemed to have died at the same time. No one knows quite exactly what happened there, but it's quite possible that 2 big males clashed heads and that was the end of them, much to the delight of the local pride of lions. All manner of other scavengers made their way there: hyenas, jackals, about 40 vultures, so it was quite a spectacle. A long drive for Pioneer and his guests, but well worth it in the end. Ruan was up next on the photographic event, and Ruan did a phenomenal job. Roger and Andrew were telling me just how good Ruan was at understanding angles, and he managed to get them into some great positions to obtain some eye-level shots of hippos and crocodiles, as well as a number of birds. So I mean, Roger and Andrew are absolute bird fundies, so some great photographs of the birds this morning. And that kind of set the theme for the rest of the day. Today was also the birding event. Now, the birding is assessed by means of a slide and sound exam. If we were to send the contestants out into the bush, it would be an uneven playing field. You know, some of them would go off in different directions, cover different habitats, and they would do so at different times of the day. But by doing so in the wonderful conference facilities here at our host sponsor, Kapalma Private Game Reserve, everybody was on a level pegging. And so the assessment consists of a series of 50 slides. Very strange birds. You know, this is no easy test. We are trying to separate the wheat from the chaff. And so there were female birds, there were juveniles, there were birds from different habitats. We find ourselves here in the savanna biome, but the birds were sort of scattered from all over the country and all over southern Africa. It was a very tough test indeed. I sat through it myself. I was in the back watching the finalists doing their thing, and they did very well. I believe that the standards were very high once again. After lunch, we had a kind of a fun afternoon. So Michelle from Fagasa arranged a kind of a birding challenge for each of us. So we were split into 4 teams. There's quite a few of us here in our contingent, and our 4 teams each got on their own vehicle, and we went off to see if we could identify as many birds as possible in 2.5 hours. Now Michelle threw a couple of curveballs in there for us, so we also had to build the nest of one of the birds that we identified. Our most talented artist had to draw the bird, and we had to take a group selfie. When we got to the sundowners, it was quite a laugh, and that's just what this competition is all about. You know, apart from the competition, we are also here to garner these lifelong friendships, and to build this network that is going to drive our industry forward in the future. But tonight, we obviously we're very much looking forward to having Warren Dazzle here on the floor for us. Warren is going to be sharing a story with us. And Warren is based at Mbali Safari Lodge in the Kruger National Park. So I'm going to ask Warren to come up and join me here for a few questions so we can get to know him a little bit better. Please welcome Warren.
Hey, how's it?
How are you doing?
Fine, thanks, and you?
Welcome, Warren. Please come and join me here by the fire.
Thank you very much.
A little bit more of a civilized setting here this evening. Obviously, we had a beautiful bush dinner out in the middle of nowhere last night, but here we find ourselves back at River Lodge, and it's just a beautiful setting, isn't it?
It's gorgeous, we're lucky. Yeah, we got quite a lot of wind coming in today, so obviously being inside is quite a treat, and the fire is so warm and cozy, which
Beautiful.
is lekker.
Lovely. Warren, so tell us a little bit more. I believe that you're based at Mbali Safari Lodge in the Kruger National Park at the moment.
Yes, that's correct. Out of all the places that I've worked in the Kruger in the last couple of years, I've been very fortunate enough to see every piece of ground, and I've operated at many different areas within the Kruger. I've managed to walk it, guide it, drive it, even fly it. And I think Mbali for me has been the pinnacle, because that was a lodge that I've been earmarking for the last 15 or 20 years. And to be there now at this level, it's a cream of the crop. It's a beautiful place. They basically got 3 main lodges. They've got a luxury, opulent, tented safari camping experience, which is really beautiful. Then they've got a downscaled, off-the-grid luxury lodge, which you've got no Wi-Fi, no signal. It's really bush intimate. And then they've got the proper bush lodge experience. So out of the 3 lodges, Hamilton's, Hoya Hoya and Mbali, they really have a lot to offer. And then obviously it's on the basalt plains of Satara, so it's exceptional for game viewing and predators alike.
Yeah, a very productive area, I believe. Lots of plains game, and obviously we know that the predators follow soon thereafter.
Yeah, it's seriously attractive.
Warren, I've heard little rumors about your first word that you ever uttered being in the Kruger National Park. So it seems that this love affair of yours with the Kruger started from a very, very young age.
Yeah, that's true. Most of the rumors you've heard about me is true, the good ones and the bad ones. So yeah, I think from the stories my mom and dad have obviously told me when I was a kid, I was very fortunate enough to have my first Kruger safari as a very young toddler. And the story goes that we were driving in the back of the car. Obviously all my siblings were in the car with us. My mom was driving up front. And every now and then they'd stop and have a look at something. And obviously I was too small. I was in the baby chair strapped in, and I couldn't really see what's happening. So every time I was watching, everyone stops and then looks a direction. And then nobody knows what they're looking at until someone says, look, there. And so the pattern went on, and so the pattern went on. And then I realized, like, wait, this is a thing. Okay. So a couple of sightings later, my mom stopped the car and had a look, but there was a pause because she wasn't sure what she was seeing. And then there I was, just mimicking what I saw. I leaned forward, tried to stretch out of the baby seat towards the car, and I was pointing on the window. And then, yeah, at their dismay, the first word came out, look. And obviously I had no idea what they were doing, but they thought it was hilarious. And yeah, there's history. So I think right from the get-go, the love for Kruger was in my blood from then on.
It sounds like you were just born to be a safari guide. What made you want to become a safari guide? Was that the start of it? Was that the seed that was planted within you?
I think with my family taking me to Kruger National Park at such a young age, and every single year, I haven't missed a year since I was born, so I've been going there for a couple of decades now. Mm-hmm. And I think because it was a holiday destination, it was always like my go-to place. It was always almost my safety place, if I can say that. Mm-hmm. And as I was growing up, the peer pressure or the pressures of school, I'd get away from that. I'd go on holiday in the Kruger, and I felt peace and relaxation. And then as I grew up, the pressures of adolescence and teenage years, when I used to go on holiday, I used to get away from that. And then I think just all of that into my career, into working career, university and studying, I think it gave me that break and that peace. And I think that connection for what Kruger gave me through my emotional building, I think that definitely caught something in my heart that obviously is very unique.
Well, I think all of us here can relate to you, that we all find that the wilderness and nature is this place of safety and sanctuary for us, and it's a place to replenish your soul. Warren, what would your advice be to young safari guides also looking to get into the industry? What would be the first step for them?
I think what's important is you need to guide in different areas to get experience. If you're looking to learn, get experience on where you're guiding. Obviously, Fugasa is the ideal platform to learn. They've got so many different levels that you can go through, and I think just keep going. If you can mix that experience in the workplace and that experience of studying, the reading and the knowledge is so important to get as much as you can and then go out and into the workplace and apply it. So I think, the best advice is just absorb as much as you can. And the most important thing is if you can spend time with the people that have done or have gone to the direction of where you want to go, if you can spend time with them, surround yourself with very good mentors that you look up to. And I think from there, you'll find the path and get the direction of where you need to go.
Yeah, I think you and I both can agree that Fugasa has certainly set the gold standard for field guiding, not only in Southern Africa, but pretty much in the whole world. And it opens some incredible doors for you as you go through your career. Warren, is there any particular species of animal that you're still looking for, anything that's still on your bucket list?
I get this question a lot. So obviously I'm very fortunate. I spend a lot of time in the Kruger National Park. I've spent years in my safari tent or my little tent. I've almost slept in every single riverbed in the Kruger. I've traversed it north to south, south to north. So I've spent copious amounts of time in the wilderness. And you get lucky. It's the most amount of time you can spend in the bush is when you're seeing what's on offer. And day and night, of course. And there's still this one animal that I haven't yet seen in real life. So I was paging through this book. It was a children's storybook, by the way. And in the storybook, there's this funny looking beigeish thing. It's got like this round, long snout, and it's got like this bare tail. It's like a beigey color. I don't know. Have you seen that? What's that name?
I have an idea or two.
Yeah.
Must be the aardvark.
Yeah, that's it, the aardvark. So I saw it in this kid's storybook once, and apparently it's a real thing.
Yeah. I'm sure your time will come, Warren. So we have a comment from Justine, and she's sending positive vibes your way, and she hopes that you do well throughout the competition, and she just wishes you the best of luck.
Cool, thank you.
So we're all
Justine.
rooting for you, and I think that it's about that time. We'd love to hear this story that you have to share with us, so I'm going to leave the floor over to you.
Cool, thank you very
Lovely.
much.
Thanks, Warren.
Thank you very much.
Have fun.
Appreciate
Enjoy it.
Thank you. Okay guys, good evening everyone. So before we get started, I'd just like to propose a toast. I'd like to say thank you very much. And this toast goes from everyone, from the founder of Scotty, going down to the organizers, the sponsors, everyone involved, definitely the judges, everyone that have been here, the finalists of course, everyone competing here, guests, family members, friends of Scotty, and everyone involved. I think every single one of you guys, including the friends and family, and those of you at home, I think what's really important is every single one of us has played an integral part in making this event a success. And just guys, cheers to every single one of you. It's such a success, guys. Cheers. Okay, so before we get started with the storytelling for tonight, I just need to warn you guys that my storytelling can sometimes be shocking. So if you guys want to, you're welcome to take another sip if you guys want to calm your nerves. For those of you that find it too unbearable and my story shocking, you can politely exit out at the back or through the left, and obviously no one will be offended. Okay, so I would like to just lower some expectations. And I thought what I should do is start off with two simple jokes. You can understand that my jokes are really bad, and so are my storytelling. So I'd like to start off with two jokes. We were driving on the safari vehicle the other day, doing one of the assessments, and we came across this beautiful zebra. And we watched it for a while. I did some interpretation, and then we just sat there and enjoyed the beauty of it. And then I thought of this question, and I was like, hey. And I asked one of the very experienced assessors on the vehicle. And I'll ask you guys as an audience, if you guys can please guess it, or tell me if you know the answer, please. So, joke number one. How many stripes, or which side of the zebra has the most stripes? The outside. Okay, Okay, guys, just one more. I told you it was going to be a bad one. Okay, so another bad joke, please. Fact, though. This is a true fact. It is kind of a joke, but it's also a true fact. Did you know that a giraffe can jump higher than your average house? True fact. True fact. A giraffe can jump higher than your average house. Because your average house can't jump. Okay, guys, so now that I've got you prepped and ready for tonight's stories, let's just see. I want to take you back into the Kruger National Park. So there's a part of Kruger National Park. Some of you might be aware of it, but some of you might not be aware of it. And I want to shed some light on this topic in Kruger National Park. So we have this an award. It's a prestigious award, and you have to earn it. So if you do something prestigious in a way, you can win this award. And it's known as the Pink Gown Award. Okay? So this Pink Gown Award goes to section rangers, or it goes to guides working within the Kruger National Park that do something really stupid, but no one gets hurt. That's basically.
Sorry.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
There we go.
Testing 1, 2, 3. You're good? Okay, so this Pink Gown Award, guys, gets awarded to the guy that does this accident, but no one gets hurt. So it's quite serious, but dead funny. So this Pink Gown Award gets awarded every single year. It's a tradition, and it goes with every year. So between all the nominations, the guys get raised up, and in the end of the season, one guy wins this award. So I'm going to tell you exactly one story that comes to mind to give you guys an idea. And for the focus of the story, I'm not going to mention the true names of the people involved, but I'll give you the story. So for the story's sake, we'll start with James and Ashley. Okay? So these guys were guiding a couple of clients on a wilderness backpack trail in Kruger National Park. They were walking the Olifants River, and these guys are very good friends. In fact, they're almost inseparable. So on one of the nights of the backpack trail, they had set up their tents with the clients a little bit away from the fireplace, and in the distance on the riverbed you could see that the Olifants River was flowing, and it was a beautiful evening. The guys were a bit tired after a couple of nights of hiking, and so the guys decided to go to bed early after dinner. So all the clients went to bed, but James and Ashley decided to stay up, and they wanted to have a bit of entertainment by the fire, just like we're doing tonight, and just have a good time. They loved each other's company, so they just sat there talking quietly and enjoying each other's company and enjoying the evening. So while they were sitting there, you can picture they're on the river sand. They got the fire going over there, and I just want to get this prop. So what they were doing is he only had a really strong torch that he had mounted onto his firearm for safety. It was dark at night, and James put his firearm in between him and Ashley, and they had their little torch set up there. The firearm was in stage 2, so it was safe, unloaded, but ready if he needed it at a moment's notice. And while they were sitting there, they were enjoying the fire. It was a peaceful night. And James jumped up and he thought, whoa, no, it can't be. No, it can't be. So he sat down and Ashley said, what's wrong? So James said, no. And then a second later, James jumped up and shouted, ah! And he ripped his pants open, shoved his pants down, and obviously in Shangaan, he was shouting at Ashley, something bit me, have a look. So in the panic, Ashley jumped up, shouting at him in Shangaan, didn't know what to do, needed to see what's happening. While he's standing there with his pants down, he just grabbed the rifle, hit the torch on, and obviously shone it up to have a look at what's happening. And at the moment, all the clients in the tent had already woken up. They didn't know what was going on. All the clients were sitting there watching as these guys were standing there shouting in Shangaan profusely while James was standing there with his pants down, and they had no idea what was going on. So needless to say, that was one of the Pink Gown Awards. It takes me to my second story, guys, for the evening. So moving it a little bit closer to home, a little bit closer to the Scotty family. There was another said guide, I won't mention names, but let's call him Jeremy. So Jeremy was on this trail, and it was his first lead trail. So first time he's leading a trail in the Kruger. He's been promoted from backup to lead, and it's his first trail. And so he goes to camp. He's very excited. He's going to meet his clients, and he's going to take them on this mind-blowing experience. So he gets there and he meets these three ladies, and one of the girls' names is Jasmine. And Jasmine sticks in this guy's name because the story unfolds quite thick. So they were walking on this trail, Lonely Bull, on the Letaba River, and James decided to walk it from east to west. And that was his route that he chose. And it was all good. That first 2 days was really, really good. Everything was successful. They saw some nice lions, some nice elephant. So it was going great. They'd chosen really good spots to sleep in, so it was a successful trail. But then on the third day, as they were hiking towards the west, there had been some debris that had washed up on the bank, on the northern bank, and it became almost impossible to penetrate and walk on that road or on that route. So Jeremy decided he's going to cut back and go northwest to a Kashumba spring. And then from the Kashumba spring, the next morning you just have to wake up and guide the guys southwest. It was fairly straightforward. It wasn't a complicated trail. And they were almost finished on their 4-day trail. So they got to Kashumba Spring. That night, luckily, they spotted a leopard, which was beautiful. And then the next day, they woke up early in the morning, had their coffee in the riverbed, woke up and set on their adventure, heading southwest. So as they started walking and things were going, everything was fine. And funny story, Jeremy had a GPS, pretty much like this one. And what he was doing is, while he was walking, he just had a look quickly, and he looked down. And Jeremy noticed the GPS was saying he was going east, which was a problem, because if he started in the east and he's traveling to the west, he's got to Kashumba, he needs to finish over here. If the GPS is telling him he's going east, he's going the wrong way. So Jeremy was like, uh-oh. He had a look up, full overcast weather with a bit of drizzle, and he was in Mapani thickets. So Jeremy was in a situation. So he thought, okay, no, this isn't a problem. Obviously, if I'm supposed to be heading west, but I'm going east, it's not a problem. He'll just turn 90 degrees, walk a little bit, heading north, obviously, and then he'll turn 90 degrees and obviously head west, right? So he did that. And he thought he'll get over it, take a left, and take another left. It was straightforward. It wasn't rocket science. And he thought he got away with it. He thought he sorted himself out, he rerouted, and he thought he was on the money. And as he thought he was in the clear, he heard this from the back. And so Jeremy turned around and was like, yes. And there was this lovely lady named Jasmine. And Jasmine was like, excuse me, I recognize this Mapani tree. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen Mapani trees, but they pretty much all look the same. But Jasmine, from Germany, she was adamant she recognized this one tree on her first visit to the Kruger. And Jeremy was like, no ways, that's not possible. So he stopped and he explained to the client how the trees can look the same. Have a look around. There's no natural indicators. They're pretty much in a thicket. So it's pretty much all grown on the same bedrock, and it's the same tree. So it's really difficult to ID one specific species. And then he carried on with the walk. So after a few moments, Jeremy looked to recalculate to make sure he was now going west. And he had a look at his GPS. And to his dismay, he realized he was still going east. So now he's getting into a situation. He realized, okay, maybe he didn't turn far enough. Maybe he didn't travel far enough. So he did the same exercise. He took a left, walked a couple of paces as far as he thought was necessary, and he took another left. And he thought, okay, now I'm on it. I'm going to walk a little bit out, and then eventually I'll double check. So Jeremy had a look at his GPS. And while he was looking down, little Jasmine at the back, a little bit more oomph on the stop. As Jeremy turned around and looked at Jasmine, Jasmine said, hey, this is the Mopani tree I recognized, and this is our track going that way. What is going on here? So you can imagine Jeremy in that situation, what is he going to do? So his backup at the time suggested, hey, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? So Jeremy very confidently said, don't worry, I've got this. Don't worry, I'll figure it out, don't worry. So then, Jeremy's biggest mistake. He thought maybe he did the circles a little bit too quick. Maybe he should do it a little bit longer. Walk 100 paces further, turn left, do another 150 paces, turn left, and then he would have rerouted, and then he should be heading east. So, he did that. He followed his plan. He came around, and when he wanted to recheck his GPS, he had to look down, and then Jasmine lost it. You can imagine. She was like, Jeremy, what the? This is the same Mopani tree. This is our track going this way. This is another track going that way. And now we're going this way. What are you doing? And so the backup said to him, put that thing away. This client is going to kill you. So long story short, Jeremy managed to put it away. He followed the backup's advice, and he walked for 2Ks in that exact same direction. And then everything was fine. So Jeremy had 1,000 things to say. And Jeremy had the rocks to blame, he had the weather to blame, he had the all sorts to blame. But at the end of the day, I've got to tell you, they got out all right. Or should I say, I got out all right. So Jeremy and I, or should I say myself, and Jasmine, we're actually still friends. I've won this prestigious award of getting lost in Kruger National Park with a GPS. So this is bringing the pink gown a little bit closer to the Scotty family. But I want to take it one step closer to the Scotty family. So you guys have got the concept of the pink gown award, right? So I think I would like to find a way, or maybe suggest it, that maybe this is a tradition we could follow. And maybe I can give you an example of how would you do it with a Scotty event. So there's a very, very esteemed photographer. He's highly qualified and professional. And yesterday, I was out on a photographic safari. So obviously the pressure's there. The guys need to perform, and photography is about timing, which is linked to light. So it's precious. Every 5 minutes counts, every 2 minutes counts. It's very, very important. So we set out on this journey, and I'm like, yes, this is going to be the best day of my life. I just want to go out there, shoot photos, see beautiful stuff, and I'm happy. And we're taking a few roads, we're taking a few drives. There's a bit of tension because I don't know the reserve, so I don't know where I'm going. So I don't know what I'm looking for, actually. But I'm there to meet these professional photographers' expectations. And we're driving along, and I'm thinking, like, what can I do? How can I make this the best experience I could ever have? And then, I don't know what happened, but the guys were like, stop, 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 stop. So I was like, yes, this is the first shot. We're going to make it count. It was a little bit early. The sun was high, but these guys are the professionals. They know what they're doing. So I stopped, and I was like, yes. And when I looked back, they were like, whoa, the mark's gone. Similar to what just happened, yeah, but we lost a mark. We lost a mark. So, I mean, I'm not sure. I don't work with this stuff often, so I'm like, okay. I mean, is it a big deal? Okay, that's fine. I'll help you look. Everybody just stay seated. Check your seats, check around you. Like, what happened? So said photographer, I don't want to mention names, but said photographer was sitting on the front seats, like that, the two of them. And there was a microphone that was connected to the little seat. It was just clipped on. And while we were driving along the drive, enjoying this beautiful day in the savannah, he moved his arm and felt the mark. He felt the mark. And then he was like, oh, and he looked and it was gone. Boom, poof. Like a magician, it disappeared. And that's when he shouted, stop. So we stopped the vehicle. I said, okay, no worries, I'll search, it's fine. So I got out my door, had a look by his feet, had a look around, and then I couldn't find it. And this progressed very quickly. Everyone was off the vehicle, everyone got off the vehicle, and then it became a thing. The two trackers started going down the road. They ended up walking like 200 meters down the road. They're looking for this little microphone that's precious. So they're going out. The photographer's off the vehicle, and he's panicking. He's like, okay, what am I going to tell my boss? How are we going to do this? So he's busy looking, and you can see the mic's still on because the sound is still recording. So he's like, okay, guys, it's somewhere here. It's somewhere here. I can see the recording on the microphone's beeping. So I'm like, okay, just hang on. Everyone stop. So everyone stops. I'm like, I've got an idea. Let me start the car. Because if the car starts and the dB reading goes up, you know the mark's there. So I start the car. Sure as daylight. The reading hits the bar. It's definitely in the car. So this is where the story goes sideways. Everybody's off the vehicle. And now I'm thinking, okay, this is a bad situation. We're all off the vehicle. We're on a photographic safari. All the cameras are on the vehicle. If another vehicle drives past, what are the guys going to think? Like, did this guy get the memo wrong? So anyway, we're standing there. The spare tire comes out. The cooler box comes out. The other cooler box comes out. The table comes out. We start pulling out everything. Everything comes out. One of the people on the vehicle even suggested, I think we should just get, like, let's just take all our clothes off and then maybe make sure we don't have it somewhere in our clothes. And at that point, I was like, whoa, stop, please. Imagine I'm on this photographic assessment. I'm driving down the road. We get out. Everyone strips naked. They're trying to find this mark. And imagine another car driving past. What do you think they're going to say? So I was like, hold it, guys. No ways. So we ended up starting to do sound checks. And long story short, I thought this was like a prank. I thought maybe they're trying to build tension, yeah, or there was an angle. But long story short, this photographer, I won't mention names, bumped the mic straight into his camera hood, which was right next to him, and it was sitting there the whole time. So when he started searching and passing jackets and passing everything just got cleared out the vehicle. We stripped the covers off. We stripped the outside. We took the wheel out the back. We took everything out. And at the end of this whole thing, I was like, guys, this is like taking all my assessment time. We need to get going. Whatever the cost of this device is, we'll talk about it. We need to get going. And I was like, guys, everyone on the vehicle, let's go. We need to move. And when I picked up the camera, I was like, clink. You've got to be joking. I had a look in the hood, and boom, there was the mark. Can you believe it? So yeah, guys, I don't know if you guys think it's worth considering. I think maybe the pink gown should be coming to an event like this. I think if you look at it, everybody's got some sort of story. Somebody did something embarrassing. Somebody messed something up. I could mention a story from a guard, but I'll leave that for you guys to discuss it maybe around the fire tomorrow night or later. But yeah, I think for now, guys, that brings me to the end of my stories. Thank you.
Don't take that off. That color is actually very fetching on you. I think that maybe we should have a chat to Howard from Rugged Wear about adding pink to the portfolio of clothing for next year. Howard says no. Warren, well, thank you so much for sharing your stories about trails guiding. I think we know that trails guiding is possibly one of the most exciting and adventurous forms of guiding. We really go out there into the wilderness and you're at the mercy of nature for 3 or 4 days at a time. And even on photographic safaris, mishaps can happen, and that is why guides need to be so skilled and need to be such quick thinkers. But dinner is calling us. I think that the staff here at Kapama Private Game Reserve are ready to put on another wonderful spread for us. So please do remember to follow us on our social media channels at the Safari Guide of the Year and the Field Guides Association of Southern Africa. We are on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube. Please do join us again tomorrow night to see which one of our 5 finalists is going to dream it, guide it and win it. Have a wonderful evening and we'll see you again tomorrow.